The red ball drills have the unique ability to follow the path of communication and to understand deeply the process involved in all dynamics of crisis events. A large percentage of any crisis situation is a communications issue. And as we were running red ball drills for a cancer center and running scenarios on active shooter, and everybody was answering, I'm calling 911. I'm going to call 911. And we all think, okay, you call 911, they send police response. That makes sense, but I'd actually never been in a 911 dispatch, and I wanted to go look and follow the path of communication. They had received the memo that we were running red ball drills and that if they saw a red ball, that they were having a conversation about a crisis event. And she saw the red ball and understood what it meant. And we asked, is this a good time? And she said, yep, this is a good time as long as I can still take phone calls while we're having a conversation. That's the nice thing about the red ball drills. They don't interrupt operations at all. So we were able to run a live exercise at a 911 dispatch. And I said, out of curiosity, here's your scenario. Phone call rings, call from the cancer center saying, oh my gosh, there's an active shooter on the 4th floor. Go. And she said, okay. And she launched into her questions. She'd been on the job for 16 years and starts asking the questions that she would ask a caller. After about 15 seconds, I said, out of curiosity, hold on a second. You haven't said that you're sending police response yet. Did that already happen? Is that something that I missed? And she goes, no, our policy is to not send police response until we've gathered the information first. And then we provide them that information en route. And I'm like, interesting. Well, I pulled out a stopwatch because we always carry one during a red ball drill for this reason. And I said, when I say go, ask me all the questions you would ask me as a caller before you would send police response. Go. A minute and 45 seconds later, she was done with her questions. That's without answers. So let's assume 4 to 5 minutes have now passed that this event is happening and no police response has been sent yet. And I stop and I'm like, out of curiosity, why? Is there a reason why? And she goes, honestly, no. And now that we're talking about it, it makes no sense to me. And I go, interesting. I'm like, well, operationally, would it affect you at all? She goes, no, not at all. She goes, I could send police right away, and it's called echoing. I could basically take the information from the caller and relay it, echo it immediately to the police who are responding to scene. I'm like, that's really interesting. How do we change policy in 911 dispatch? And she goes, well, the 911 dispatch manager has to do that. He walks over while we were having this conversation. He goes, I'm listening to this and I cannot believe we have never discussed this before. And I said, well, that's actually the red ball drills. The whole point of the red ball drills is that they provide a dynamic of conversation that people just don't normally have. These aren't tabletop exercises. Tabletop exercises are useful. They're great for conversation and creating awareness, but they don't usually create policy. They review policy. And typically, tabletop drills only involve management, so you're losing the perspective of other people in the organization. And I said, so how do you change policy? He goes, oh, I'll tell you how we change policy. When you and I are done, I'll send an email to my boss notifying him of the change, and everybody will be trained up by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I said, are you telling me right now we just saved 5 minutes of police response time to an active shooter event? He goes, yeah, we did. Not because I'm a consulting genius, but because that 16-year dispatcher was put in a position to discuss process in a way she never had before. That's the red ball drills.